It's the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast, your source for anything and everything indie horror. Here's your host, Otis B. Dreds. It is 8 o'clock. Do you know where your indie horror's at? It is right here,
baby.
It's right here. The junkies are here. Another episode of the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast. I am Otis B. Dreds. Of course, Rotting, Ricky D, Asylum Aimee joining us this week. How are you guys doing? Episode 26. My, how time flies.
Flew by, right?
Crazy.
It's great. We got another great show lined up. There's an awesome movie that's on Indiegogo right now, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about when you see this little trailer here in just a few. Writer, producer, director Tory Jones is with us, as well as the boy. Mr. Jack Norman is with us, and I can't wait for you guys to see this little clip. This reminded me a little bit of the end. It had that feel to it. It really had that feel to it. Really excited about that, to talk about that. The Boy from Below is what we're going to be talking about, as well as numerous other projects from Mr. Jones. Don't forget, of course, take notice of all of the scrolling down there, all the ways that... Can you see it there, Rick?
I can. Yeah. Real small, but I can see it.
All right.
Back into it, right? Come on.
And that's all of the contact info, the Gmail, the YouTube. Subscribe, click the little bell, do whatever you got to do to be notified every week, because you're not going to want to miss an episode. These episodes are getting bigger and better. If you missed last week, we had Miss Brink Stevens. That was last week? Yeah.
No, last week was the Valentine's special.
Oh, that's right. Last week was the Valentine's. Yes, the week before was Brink with Richard Elfman and
Anastasia Elfman.
Wife Anastasia. So the show's getting bigger and bigger. You're not going to want to miss any of these shows. And what else is getting bigger and bigger? The Indie Horror Junkie magazine. Episode 8 is coming March 13th. And of course, unless you've been living under a rock, you don't know that the magazine is now in print form. So you can get the print form. You can put your order in for that as soon as the digital version drops on the 13th. Mm-hmm. These magazines are looking awesome. On this episode's cover, Mr. Peter Anthony's new project, Laugh, is being spotlighted on the cover, and I'm sure we got a lot of good articles going on in there. As always, you're not going to want to miss an episode. Good stuff. Anything you guys did I forget anything? Sorry, I'm on my pain meds, had a little surgery on my arm, so I may forget things. I may stumble over my words, which
it's all good.
That's okay, Otis. We're just...
And I'm working left-handed, so that's why it was a little delay in the beginning, but that's all good. The show must go on, so I guess we should just get right into it.
Let's get into it, you guys.
Unless you guys got anything...
No, you covered
want to bring up now? No? All right.
Let's show them that little clip from the Indiegogo campaign so they can see what they're getting into.
That's right. This is going to be a good one, guys. You ain't going to want to miss it.
Nice.
I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, I guess I'm going to use the pun. That's some wicked stuff right there. Welcome, Tory. Welcome, Jack.
Hey, guys.
What's up, guys?
How you guys doing tonight? Thanks for taking some time out and talking about the Boy from Below, man. That looks absolutely amazing. And,
very impressive.
This is like a love project, I guess. It's been going on for quite some time with the Wicked One and then the Wicked Ones. Why don't you let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about The Boy from Below. It is live on Indiegogo. If people I could probably put it back in the chat, but if you look up in the chat, I got it posted, the Indiegogo link for everybody. Tell us a little bit about The Boy from Below, Tory.
First off, thanks for having me and Jack on. This is awesome. So we're excited to be here. And The Boy from Below is actually a reimagining and a reboot, new continuity, not a sequel to those other two films that were made with no money. So this movie actually has money to make this character come to life. And I always knew making that movie, especially after how it was received, the original Wicked one, that we were going to come back and do it in a bigger way and just make it something unique and try to make something that people would dig. So that's where we are, and we're back now with a bigger budget than I've ever had on any project.
That's got to be a breath of fresh air, ain't it? When you got more money than what you maybe anticipated or that you had in some of your other projects.
In some ways, yes, but in other ways, it doesn't mean that there's less problems. It just means more expenses now. So it's still trying to navigate that and make it work the best we can. But we're excited. We're actually 5 weeks from today is principal photography, and then in just 2 weeks we will be shooting some stuff for the film as well over March 7th through the 9th. So we're there. We're up and ready to get started.
So that clip that we saw at the beginning, those were scenes probably taken from the Wicked One or the Wicked Ones.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if that was like promo stuff you did for this one.
No. So all of that is from the old films. That's why I was like, cringing at the quality of it.
Right. It looked pretty freaking good if you ask me.
Yeah. Not compared.
I think it's great. We're all indie filmmakers. We've all made something out of nothing. And it's so cool to see this project come into fruition for you after all of these years of you telling this story. And now you get to do it the way that you really want. So bravo to you for just sticking with it and being committed to your own art, because it's not easy to do. And I know that you're hardcore in pre-production right now and all the work that entails that. So mad respect to what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
I will actually tell you all this story of how we got here is I was actually trying to write another film, and the idea popped in my head, well, why don't you just make it the Wicked One character? And I immediately got very nervous, but I had like this excitement about it. So I went and talked to some people who I respect, and one of those guys was Mike Levy from Fuzz on the Lens, who everyone knows.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah, everyone knows from Terrifier, and they were actually producers on the first Wicked One movie. But talked to him, and he pretty much laid it out that he had always felt like that this character had that same potential to cross over and to be something bigger than just another independent horror film that gets dumped on streaming. So he was like, if you do this right, this could be a big deal. So he pretty much laid it all out for me. And then I talked to another gentleman who actually distributed the first film, and that's Andy Palmer, who I don't know if you know of the films Camp Coldbrook or The Funhouse Massacre.
Love the Funhouse Massacre. Just watched the Phantom Massacre. Or no, it's Phantom Funhouse. I'm sorry, I watched that.
That's my film. But his film, The Funhouse Massacre, he directed and had all kinds of cool people in it. And so those guys really helped steer me towards doing this again. So
awesome.
Very cool.
Speaking of the Wicked One, Jack, how are you, sir? I'm kind of envious of your character, because that's the kind of character I've kind of wanted to play, as almost like a side list, side bucket list. I love the silent masked killer. Is that as hard as it? I mean, because you're not talking, it's all body language. I've heard Kane Hodder mention, that's why he did the whole heavy breathing type deal to kind of give, the character something that because he couldn't talk. How was it playing that, the boy?
I like well, I haven't played the boy yet, but I did play the Wicked one in the first one.
Right.
Same character, but I love those characters, and that's why Tory picked me, because we both have a crazy fascination with Michael Myers and
Same.
stuff like that. So I guess Tory went. I don't know. I really love the mannerisms, and I do this in all my everyday life with my kids. Anywhere I am, I'm always. I don't like to talk a lot, so I talk with my eyes, my hands, and my body. And I'm 6'5" and I'm 280 pounds, so it's a lot of that to talk.
Small guy.
And I really don't. People say all the time, like, I don't talk and I don't smile, and I'm like, well, I ain't got no wrinkles either, so because I don't smile. But
Magic tricks.
yeah. But yeah,
Works for me.
and I originally I don't know if you guys know this, but we've actually made the first Wicked one twice.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And I won't mention names, but the first one got deleted on accident by our DP, the first DP, after we finished.
Ouch.
So I actually played it twice now. I did not play in the sequel. I'm not the same person as the person that played in the sequel, by the way.
I can't imagine losing that whole film like that. I mean, that DP's got to be somewhere holed up in a small shed in Canada right now, right?
If he's still alive.
If he's still alive, yeah.
alive.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say this. I reconciled with that dude. He's a good dude, and I don't have anything against him.
That's why I said we're not going to name names.
Yeah, he had a lot going on. He did have a lot going on in his life at that time. So I don't want to hold a grudge. We just picked up the pieces and made the film. And honestly, had that not happened, the way everything happens for a reason. So
Yeah.
Probably for the best.
right. I mean, if it wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have got the movie we got. And it wouldn't have, I don't think people wouldn't have responded to it the way that they did that film for a movie made for nothing, which was pretty phenomenal. So
Absolutely.
It amazes me sometimes how that's so true, that this worst possible thing can happen after all this stuff. And then you find out that in the long run, that turned out probably to be one of the things that helped something even better come along. It's really something that's crazy.
yeah.
And it really did, because when we postponed it, I got to work on Andy Palmer's The Funhouse Massacre. And they said, bring some of your own stuff to set. Maybe we'll use it as your costume. And I brought this mask, which was the hero from our movie. And he liked it so much and I told him, he said, where'd you get that? I was like, oh, we're using this. This is the one I wear in this movie we're making. And he liked it so much that when the film was done, he called me and wanted to talk to Tory about buying the rights to help distribute it, which is
Look at that.
yeah. So that, and then also I brought that same mask to Tamara Glynn's. She doesn't do this anymore, but Arkansas, I forget what it's called.
Hot Springs.
Hot Springs Horror Fest.
Yeah.
And Mike Levy, before he did Terrifier or any of them, and all the Fuzz on the Lens guys, who are basically my brothers now, before they did any of that, they liked it so much that they were going to be in it, I believe, and almost worked on this one. That they use it in one of their movies. So this thing's actually been in 3 or 4 movies now.
Wow.
I love that.
That's an awesome mask. I love that mask as well as the as we've talked in the past couple weeks about the Inn that's coming out soon. And I love that mask too. There's something about that burlap look. I don't know. It kind of has almost a burlap look. It's just a creepy mask. I dig it. And then you stick it on. Oh, look, we got
an extra guest.
Visitor there. An extra guest. How you doing, dear?
Hi.
She's not scared of the mask?
Hi, cutie.
She lives with him.
Her
Oh,
name
that's true. That's true.
her name is Lori, and she loves Halloween. So
Of course.
Usually when the parents are into the spooky, so are the kids.
That's true.
They don't know any different. They're around it. When I was on set for the end, I had one day off during the whole shoot. and the boys came to see me, and they're trying on the killer's mask and taking pictures, and they're around it all the time. I love it. I think it's great.
Speaking of that mask, though, I mean, can you tell me a little bit more about how that mask came to be? Because it doesn't look like a William Shatner mask.
So the mask was actually, there's another independent filmmaker that some people may know about. His name is Chris Notarilli. He does a lot of fan film stuff. Blinky Productions, I think, is the name of his. So he's on YouTube. He's been doing it forever. And he did a film that I just loved this mask for this character. And I was like, well, what would like the Rob Zombie version of that be? So I talked to Chris, and then it just sort of transformed in, okay, well, what if it was a scarecrow? Yeah. So I contacted a company out of Canada, which is called Grim Stitch Factory. And Cameron at Grim Stitch Factory literally took what I wanted and brought it to life. And I mean, that's it. That's, it is the wicked one, the boy from below mask. He doesn't sell it. I mean, it is ours, So it's literally created for these films, and they are, he will tell you, they are painstakingly created. He stitches everything. It's all literally stitched. It's not just, thrown together. I mean, it's a process, and they're super expensive as well. So, but they're awesome. And that is the character, I mean, that is really what the character is more than anything, is that scarecrow mask. So
well, he might want to get started on stitching some more, because that's the kind of mask you see walking around conventions. Right. And once the movie comes out, people are going to catch on to that. They're going to want a piece of it, and the mask is like the first thing that people want to get their hands on. So
I hope after this comes out that we can get a licensing deal. I got actually a licensing deal for Phantom Fun World with Trick or Treat Studios. So I'm hoping this will follow suit and we can do this, because this is
absolutely,
this character is my baby. So I'm hoping that we can do it justice.
You guys got what I would say is a pretty all-star cast for the boy from below. I got a few little stills here. We have D. Wallace. Everybody knows D. We got Tommy Lee Wallace. Everybody knows him as well, as you see. Halloween. So you can tell that you had some Halloween inspiration there when the first two people are, come from Halloween movies. Richie Ramone. I was really, kind of pumped to see that. I'm a huge Ramones guy. And so that's pretty awesome. How'd you end up getting a hold of, Richie Ramone, getting him in your flick?
Rock and Roll High School.
It's pretty obvious they're all, horror fans. I mean, Pet Cemetery and blah, blah, blah. But how'd you come across getting Richie?
So Richie actually, my DP shot a film that had several people in it, and it was actually a Friday the 13th fan film. It was called Vengeance 2 Bloodlines. I don't know if you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So he shot that, and then Richie was involved with that, and Cody got me his contact information, and I sent him some stuff, and then he came on board, and we're excited to have him. D. Wallace, I don't know if there's anyone in horror who has done what D. Wallace has done and worked with the people she's worked with. I mean,
she's amazing. I would so love to meet her, man. She seems like such a sweet lady and a joy to be around.
Yeah. And the fact, this is someone who's worked with everyone from Spielberg to, Louis Teague to Joe Dante to, Peter Jackson, Rob Zombie. So I'm going to set under that learning tree with her and just pick her brain while she's here.
Absolutely.
And Tommy Lee Wallace, it was hilarious because Tommy was, when we talked to Tommy, he was like, well, I'm not an actor. And he just was chuckling at, the thought of doing this. So he's pumped about it, and his character is very Halloween centric. So he's actually playing a character called Dr. Dementia, which if you watch the original Halloween, Carpenter's Halloween, there's a mention of a character in there, Dr. Dementia. I think it's actually his ex-wife Nancy, who mentions it, who played Annie. I think she's the one who who mentions Dr. Dementia in Halloween. So he's playing that character, which is a nod to that. And he's like the old school Halloween host, who's like on TV, back in the day, just talking about horror movie marathon and all that. So, but we also, we got Chaney Morrow, who was in the movie Haunt, and what else did Wrong Turn. Yeah, we got Melissa, who's in everything. she runs Indie Horror. Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we also have Leah, who from Terrifier 2, the host in the grimiest cafe in horror history.
And she does it so well.
Yeah. And then we have Hannah Fearman from my favorite segment in VHS, which is the vampire, the siren segment. So the one she's like, I like you. And then she like eats those dudes. I love that. So,
oh yeah. No, that is creepy, man. She's got the big old eyes. I like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is so creepy, man.
I actually met Leah when she came down to Florida. It was December of 2022, and she was down here for Spookalla, which is a horror convention. Yeah. And she was here with some of the cast from Terrifier. And I was getting off of my elevator, which wasn't connected to the venue, and she's getting on, and I'm like, yeah. But they did they did a whole panel at Spookalla, and she got up on stage and she played the whole Clown Cafe song, and it was great. Everybody loved it. So
I love Leah.
She's so awesome. Fun and personable, and she's crazy talented. She has this her voice is very distinct and unique, and it's just cool to watch her perform in that way. So I can't wait to see her play out the role in The Boy from Below. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I think horror fans are going to go nuts over it.
Yeah, and you play the mother of the boy, and the whole reason that this guy is as jacked up as he is because of his mother.
Go figure.
Yeah. So, and she plays. I can say this because I'm the director. I can say whatever about it. But so she plays a character called Marilyn Lee Miller, which I derived the name from Marilyn Monroe and Janet Leigh.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And she is a B-movie scream queen who, as her career started to dwindle, she was a single mom. She ended up taking her own life tragically. And that sort of sent her son over the edge. He was already obsessed with his mom's movies and with horror movies, and that sends him over the edge. So now he's obsessed with creating his own horror movie in this film. So, and he does so very well, very well. So
I like this kid already.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And he's the younger version of Jack's character, the boy. So
yep.
Get to watch that whole storyline unfold.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a little nod to Halloween 3 in my fan film, Halloween Death Walks Among Us, in a warehouse where we have a sign on the wall that's supposed to be the company that made the masks and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a lot of little nods like that. So I'm a huge Tommy Wallace fan.
We have this is funny. I love Horror's Hallowed Grounds, which Sean Clark, of course, does. And we have so many of Sean's convention people in this movie, and me and Jack have talked about how can we get Sean to make a cameo in this film. So someone send this to Sean Clark and tell him to come be in me and Jack's film and make a cameo. But that would be cool because I love
everybody hit up on IG right now.
That's it. We're on a mission.
I'm going into business for myself here.
I love the artwork for the movie poster is very, very creepy. This is something, maybe it's just me personally because I'm a huge slasher guy. I love the mass killers, the silent, just the brutal kills. I'm a sucker for that. And as soon as I seen that little clip from your Indiegogo campaign, I was like, "Oh, I'm in." It's some of the the axe scene in the bathroom stall, that was just flat out brutal
with no budget. So now we have a real budget for special effects,
right? Exactly.
But to me, it's like the little things or whatever it is what gets me. Like when you just look at that short clip, you have a couple of little fight scenes, like the punch and then picking the girl up in front of the car and stuff. So many movies, I see so many little things that you can just see that they're holding back or they're punching way out of so they don't get anywhere near the person, whatever. And little stuff like that bothers the hell out of me sometimes. I'm like, hit them or at least get close.
Right.
With yours, they looked really legit. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some action in this film, right, Tory? There's definitely some action.
There is. And we tried to, when we were molding when we were talking about like, well, what are these kills going to be? Which is a crazy thing to talk. Only in indie horror can you talk about how do we come up
I
with,
know.
how do we kill
how
people?
how many gallons of blood are we going to use?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't want to try to be, I don't want to gross people out because I feel like that's been done pretty well by this point. So I was like, well, what could we do that makes people be like, oh, like that they feel it when he does something.
Yeah.
So whether that's, crunching someone's hand or, running over them with a truck, stuff like that you may or may not see in this film. Those are the things that I was like, he just needs to be relentless, like unstoppable. And he doesn't have time to, torture you, or he's just going to literally eviscerate you and move on to whatever's next.
That's awesome.
No, I have a question.
Well, I mean, I guess.
Sorry, go ahead, Otis.
Oh no, sorry. Jack is talking way too much over there.
Right.
He's a big talker, so no, I'll just throw him under the bus. Jack, how'd you get started in acting? Was this always the first love? We always like to talk about how our guests got involved in the movie industry, whether it be filmmaking, whether it be special effects, whether it be acting, because we do have a lot of aspiring, filmmakers, actors, special effects people, all kinds of people who want to get into it. So I'm always curious as to how our guests got involved. We'll start with you, Jack, because you just can't shut up.
In 2012, we had a power outage at my house in Cincinnati, and it destroyed my Xbox. And it was like my fourth Xbox. And I was like, fuck it, I'm never doing that again. So I got a laptop. And I've always loved horror movies and always been obsessed with all that stuff. So I made a page called Indie Horror Movie Promotion, which still exists. Facebook doesn't give you much algorithm, so it failed down the line, but that's how I found actually most of the names we've already mentioned, including Tory. Tory is one of the first ones we found. Someone was looking for, Tory was looking for someone to play the Wicked One in his first time through, and someone tagged me in the page. So I said, hey, I'm down. I'll try that. Well, Tory never, after talking to me, he never wrote me back. Got someone else. So I was like, fuck. All right. Well, whatever. And then I think a few months later, he asked me if I would do it, asked me my sides and stuff. And then that was my first, I guess,
So basically you never had any like formal training or anything. It was,
well, not, I won't say my regular job, but it involves acting, but not in the way like you're recording yourself or movie stuff, but you have to act what you do. So I do have 20 years of that experience, but also I don't really do roles that I don't have training in. So military role, I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years. So,
okay.
And I'm a veteran. So I really like that. Police roles, but killer roles. Obviously, I don't have any training in that, but you can use a lot of those mannerisms I learned and stuff like that. And obviously just watching scary movies for your whole life. And I mean, dressing up every fucking Halloween, as a killer, playing with your friends. I mean, me and my friends used to play Michael Myers and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not the regular kids.
when you said that he sent you like your sides and stuff like that, what was it? Just like a blank page? I mean,
I never got no sides.
He likes it. He's holding on to that trauma of me not choosing him first, and he won't.
I can tell that. You could kind of feel it in that whole. Yeah, I felt the vibe.
It hurt.
These are all part of the stories. So
I'm glad you guys are calling in from separate areas right now. So,
But yeah,
Otis,
so-
I love that you asked that question because Jack, I love your answer. I didn't know your backstory of how you got involved with these projects, and that's really, really cool. And that just goes to show that we're all here to represent the indie horror community, and we're all here to network and extend our network and help each other. And this is a love of what we're interested in, but everything is a collaboration. So it's so cool to see you guys continuing that relationship personally and professionally. And now look where it's gotten you. You guys are getting ready to film The Boy from Below. How cool is that?
yeah.
The two worlds collided. Tory, where did you ever go to any kind of, did you get any schooling when it comes to filmmaking? Was that always a first love of yours, something you always wanted to do, or did that just kind of happen to fall in your lap?
So when I was a kid, my dad, for whatever reason, our thing was sort of, and he's a football coach, but my dad, for whatever reason with me, started showing me horror films when I was younger.
Parenting win.
Yeah. So one of the first ones he showed me was like Cujo. So D. I mean, this movie is literally my life. Everything that informed my love for horror is this movie. So like D. Wallace, Tommy Lee Wallace, Halloween, and the video store was my place. I was at the video store all the time trying to get horror movies, and I was just enthralled with the artwork of it, all of that. And then when Rob Zombie did his Halloween, he released a 4-hour making of documentary.
I love that. Yeah.
And I watched that more than I watched the movie. Like I
too.
studied it. I was like, how does he handle this? What's like, I mean, and there's stuff in there where he's like telling his DP, like, you know, I want it perfect. He's mad about stuff. So everything Rob did in that, I was like, man, I'm just going to study Rob. So Rob was like, all of his documentaries that he would do with his films, that's what I would watch. I never went to school. I thought about going to New York Film Academy, actually applied, got accepted, and then decided, nah, I don't want to go. So, but yeah, it's just a love for movies. And movies are life for me. Like that's what I do. They'll be like, "Do you watch this TV show?" And I don't. I don't. I don't even watch
making movies, man.
I don't even watch television. I just watch, movies. That's my thing. Which has sucked because there's not been much that's came out lately.
That's true. That's true. But
But
kind of like you just
Halloween was it for me, and that movie is just insane. So when we did the Wicked one, that was like an homage to Halloween, and it basically is Halloween.
Mhm.
And this guy, who I still have not forgiven him, he hasn't forgiven me for not choosing him first, and I haven't forgiven him for getting to go and work on Halloween Kills, and he got to do that. Go ahead, Jack.
Before you say that, I was going to add more to your going to school and learning how to make movies and stuff. I did not have any college formal training, anything like that. But what I did in the meantime, my idea, well, actually Roman just commented. So my very first movie work, with that page I made, was Roman here was making his first movie, and people were quitting on him left and right because no one was getting paid, obviously. I mean, it was like $1,000 budget movie, which is still one of my favorite movies I've ever made. And he asked if I wanted to come to set just to see it. And I showed up to set, and then he's like, yeah, well, actually, can you hold this boom mic? And I'm like, what? Sure. Which, by the way, I've never held a boom mic again. I literally hate that job. But after that, I would start volunteering to either be an extra in every fucking movie that I saw in town, which there's a decent amount of movies filmed where I live, like big movies. Or I would, then I found I got some friends that were PAs on those movies, and I'm like, man, being a PA is literally where it's at, because you get, you know what I mean? Like you just get to do a little bit of everything. You get to see everything, especially if you're a set PA. Oh my God, you get to be it. I can't tell you the crazy. I was telling Tory this the other day. I don't know how, but if I'm the PA on something, I'll end up being in the movie somehow. Just like even if you don't see me, I'm in the movie. Like I got to work on The Strangers 2, Pray at Night. so they called me in the middle of the night and said, hey, can you pick up this grip truck and then we'll let you be a PA? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going right now. So I go do that. And I'm like, I'll probably be guarding a trash can. So what happens? I'm fucking guarding a trash can way outside of set. I'm like, well, fuck it. At least I'm here. Hour later, I'm fucking on set, being a set PA, giving the mom action in the van. Why? Obviously, I'm laying down, so you can't see me, but I got the radio. So I'm like, oh, action. So I'm like, damn, this is amazing. Amazing. Then, I don't know, 20 minutes later, they're like, hey, you got a license? And I'm like, to drive? And they're like, yeah. They're like, well, no one's going to see whoever's driving this van. So can you drive the van in this scene? I'm like, fuck yeah, I could drive the van. So
that's great.
like, when the van drives up to the cabin, I'm fucking driving that van.
That's
so
awesome.
and I'm like, literally 10 hours before this, I was at home. So I always, and that movie led me to get to be a PA on Halloween Kills, which was my ultimate goal, and took, I guess, 10 years to get there, but I got there. And I got to be a set PA on that. And I can't tell you how many fucking awesome things happened on that. Like, I mean, they knew I was a fan, and my friend that was with me, we were huge fans. So they would just let us do all the cool shit. Like, they were like, hey, you guys want to be, help the camera guy take the official Michael Myers photo shoot? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I got to hand him his knife and everything. It was just incredible. But that's where I learned all my stuff, being a PA and an extra.
Well, one of our friends that was actually in that Halloween Death Walks Among Us, he played a small role. His name is Darren Ferraro. He played a paramedic in Halloween Kills. So he was an extra there. But let me ask you the question here. After what you just said, they asked you if you had a license after they had you pick up the grip truck?
Yeah, well, I think they just were double checking. Because actually, at this point, I hadn't even signed any paperwork. So I was just there. So I'm like, whatever.
But Jack, you're totally right. I encourage any new actor or anybody that's trying to get into filmmaking of any kind of role to get your ass on set.
Yep.
That's where you learn. You learn the lingo. You learn everybody's role and position, so that when you're in front of the camera, you have a clue of what's going on. It's so important to have that etiquette and that knowledge. Me personally, I've done every job, PA, scripty, first AD, whatever they need, because that's one of the first things I did, just to get my foot in the door, just to learn. And a lot of actors, they kind of want to snub it, but that's where you make connections. That's where you get your next gig. That's where you there's so many times I've PA'd on stuff, and then this just happened on the end with the DP that for the end, I was working on a project with him 5 years ago and knew him from that. And we were both behind the scenes. So I encourage every actor or, whatever you want to do in filmmaking to just get on set and get that experience and find things local, student films, collaborative films, and just get the experience, because you can't learn enough, to be honest. And the connections are endless, and that's just going to continue to open doors. I have a question for Tory. You were talking about video stores. Are we allowed to talk about one of your sets?
Sure.
Tell us about it.
So the main story of this takes place in a video store in the 90s. And it's a video store owned by Dee Wallace and her granddaughter, who's actually played by Spooky Madison, who's one of our leads, opposite Leah Voicey, who's the other lead. And so everything about this film is to do with movies, with our love of horror, with the video store, all of those elements. And we are creating this retro video store. So it is literally, when you walk into it, it is going to smell like popcorn and cigarettes. You're going to see all of this old artwork, and it is going to be a fully immersive set. And we have so many cool sets that are a part of this, but that's the main one. And like I said, going back to the love of horror and how big that was to me, I was like, man, I wish I could bring back video stores. So let's just bring it back and make a movie in it. And that was literally the genesis.
I love that you're doing it, because everything you described about your childhood with your dad, it was just a reflection of my memories at like Blockbuster. You guys, they're sick of hearing me tell this story, but I don't care. every Friday night, I'd go with my dad. We'd get 3 movies, one for Friday night, one for Saturday night, and one for Sunday night. And, you know, my mom would want to watch the Hallmark movies in the family room, and I'd be hopped up in bed next to my dad watching all the crazy stuff. And, you know, he's just like, cover your eyes. But like nothing was off the table. And that's how I got into, you know, my love of horror as well in cinema. I was just watching movies constantly. So that's one of my favorite things about this film, is that you're bringing that retro video store. You're creating this entire set, and it's also a way that people can get involved in the Indiegogo campaign, right?
Yep, and that was sort of a cool thing that we did, where we were like, all right, how do we get people involved, but they're not involved in a way where they're just, you know, like a police officer or something like that. And that is in this film, but we were like, well, because this is with movies, we can do movies within the movie and create these other movies. And because of this character, Marilyn Miller, that you play, we can do her movies and have all these other people sort of participate in that. And it doesn't take away from the story overall. So it was a pretty cool idea that we got to bring to life. So
tell us a little bit about this Indiegogo campaign, some of the perks, how long is it going to be live? What can people expect to get in return if, you know, if they're able to donate and support you?
Yep. So we're actually getting ready to enter the final month of the Indiegogo. And my goal is that we hit 100K. We're literally less than 10K away.
Yeah.
So it would be awesome to hit 100K. And so we have so many cool perks. We have a Horrors Icon bundle where you can get stuff signed by all the horror names and icons in this film. We have producer credits on there. We got like 3 or 4 different bundles that's just loaded with merch. I always try to do up the merch for people, because I've found like it's one thing to create the film. It's another thing to create the world of the film and then get people all of this cool stuff. So many ways to be involved in there. I think we have 2 left, and we don't plan to add any more. 2 spots if you want to be in the film with 4 of the horror names that we mentioned earlier. You will be in scenes with them, and that actually shoots April the 1st. So got to get those now, but there's only 2 left. So 2 people, whoever grabs those, will get to be in those scenes, and that's going to be a lot of fun. You get to see Felissa dancing on a bar in that scene, and that alone is worth it, right?
That's worth the cost of admission right there.
Gotta love Felissa.
That's one of the things I was going to say about the video store thing. That's something our kids will never understand. Like when I was a kid, that was our Friday night. You know, I couldn't wait to go to Blockbuster to get that movie or whatever, and looking through the aisles in the horror section. That's something our kids will never understand to this day. But also, to touch on your point about film school and stuff like that, one of the first books I ever read was a book by Robert Rodriguez called Rebel Without a Crew. And that's one of the things he mentions very towards the beginning of the book, is that instead of putting that money into film school, take that money and go make a movie, because you'll learn more on set than you'll ever learn in a classroom. And that is so true.
Yep.
You know what else is true, Rick? If our kids need to learn about video stores, we're just all going to bring them right over there to your house.
I was going to say, have you seen behind me? I was going to point there, but yeah. It's kind of ridiculous here.
Blockbuster behind them.
Many people walk in this house.
I've been looking for VHSs, so
I have some of those too.
If you have any you want to sell, let me know, because I'm buying them up everywhere right now.
All right, then. I guess we're going to be talking after the show.
There you go.
Let's see. What is there anything? Are you looking that far ahead in the future after, or Boy from Below? Do you have projects that's been sitting on the back burner that you're thinking about bringing to life, or you just kind of focused in on the Boy from Below right now?
I mean, right now this film is the biggest thing I've ever done, so it hasn't allowed me to really think outside of it.
Right.
I mean, I have like loose ideas that bounce around, but those could change at any time. Jack has some cool ideas for a film he wants to do. I'm going to let him.
I'm going to convince him that that's the next one we're doing. So I got 3 on the burner. He's going to.
I just want to throw this out there though too, and I kind of started to mention earlier. So obviously one of the big reasons doing this Halloween, this guy got to work on Halloween Kills. Another guy who's involved with this film, our stunt coordinator, and he was in the original Wicked One movies. He got to go work on Halloween 2018
As a stunt double.
As a stunt double, did work when the dude gets killed on the fence. He did the stunt work for that.
Nice.
So I am highly pissed off about this still to this day. Like there's a shot of me somewhere sitting on my couch in a Michael Myers mask, having a drink, pissed off at these two guys.
I don't blame you.
Work on my dream project, you know? So,
well, I remember when I made my first magazine, it was called Sirens of Cinema. And I got to meet through that magazine. I got to meet PJ Souls.
yeah.
As you know her from the original Halloween. So that's all because that movie was one of the main reasons I am what I am today. So just meeting her and talking to her and just being in the same headspace, whatever it is, was unbelievable. It really was. So I know what you're talking about, that connection to all things Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go back a little bit when we were talking in reference to, you know, getting on the set, as you mentioned, Amy, as you mentioned, Jack, you know, getting on the set, doing these little, you know, odd jobs, just helping out and it turning into something that actually, you know, is how I got some of, you know, some small voiceover work. L.C. Holt, who is in your Phantom Funhouse movie as the Phantom. He was working on the Watchdogs, and I had mentioned, I was like, "Hey, where are you filming at, man? I'll go get the crew coffee. I'll take out the trash. I just want to be on set." Next thing you know, he offered me a little voiceover part, so it does work. So if you are, you know, wanting to get involved, you may have to put yourself out there, come out of your comfort zone. But I'm sure if you're serious enough about it, it's going to pay off in the end.
It's all for the love of the genre. I mean, we don't do this for anybody but ourselves and our own drive and our passions and what we want and how we grew up and the stories we want to tell. And we're all creatives. And so you don't mind doing the grunt work. You're just happy to be there and be around other creatives. And it doesn't matter if you're doing 14-hour days and your feet hurt and you know, need to take a piss and you haven't eaten. You actually forget about it because you're doing something you love with people that you love. And if you don't feel that way, then just get out now, because it takes so much heart and dedication, and you have to work harder than you've ever worked and work harder than everybody around you to make all of that happen. But what I'm seeing here with you guys is that's what you've done. That's why that you started off with your first project and your second, and you have all these titles underneath your belt with Jonestown. And now you guys are making this big movie with these big names, and it's got to be the best feeling in the world.
It is, but it's also a lot of pressure. And, you know, if I feel like, and I said this, I think I've said this publicly, like this is my one shot, I think, to do this and for it to deliver. Because there's just the deck is literally stacked. Like we have to try really hard to mess this up for it to, you know, for it to not to be good. So that's just my focus, is making this as good as possible. And, you know, because I feel like The Boy from Below would absolutely destroy Art the Clown. So,
oh my god,
man, them fighting words. Shots fired.
Did I mention that the Levy brothers are one of my best friends?
Yeah,
I was going to say you. Yeah. All right then. Let me ask you a quick question.
There's a lot of love and support around this project. I don't think you
not
guys
so much anymore.
No. I don't think you guys have to worry about that. I think everybody's really excited from you from what I've seen and what I've heard, and it makes me excited for you. So you guys have so much support. You definitely have the support from the Indie Horror Junkies. So
of course,
this project, future projects, you know, whatever you guys got going on, you can always bounce back here to the Junkies and we'll help you promote it.
Absolutely. One other question I do have for you there, Tory, with regards to The Boy from Below, and without giving anything away, obviously, is there any potential, you think, whether it be in your mind or just if it's set up that way or whatever, that there may be a sequel? Or is this pretty much a one-shot deal, you think, for you?
So this, like I said, this character is my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it ends in a way that this story is a full circle story, but it also sets up a lot of cool things that we could potentially do if this film is successful. Because I'm not just going to keep doing this, and then it'd be like, okay, well, you just do this, and then nothing ever comes up. Like, my goals with this is I'm doing this for it to become something, not to just be dumped on streaming. I've done that enough. I'm ready for this to be something that people can get behind, rally behind. And I think the character too, like, that's what everyone has said, is like the character is the draw. It is a character that, if it is done right, could be a big deal. Yeah. And a lot of the credit goes to Jack, who plays that character, just because of his performance and what he's going to do and what he has done already as the Wicked One. But I hope that this is a film that's literally being made for genre fans. We don't have a lot of horror icons these days that you can get behind outside of art. I mean, outside of Terrifier, what really can you say? Well, Victor Crowley, but even
before that, it was Ghostface.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot. And Victor Crowley, Adam isn't really doing that right now. So it's just like you got Terrifier, which we're all living vicariously through right now, and then you don't have anything else. So hopefully our goal with this is to say, hey, if you dig it, here's a character you can get behind. And that's really what we're trying to do.
Leaving the door open.
Love it.
Now we haven't mentioned, a lot of, I've mentioned a couple of times Phantom Funhouse. Here's a little graphic that shows some
Look
of
at
your films there from Jonestown Films, and where you can either pick up a hard copy, watch on streaming. Which one is your personal favorite, Tory?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
So the funnest to make was They See You. That was like summer camp. That was a blast to make. When it ended, everyone cried that it was over. Phantom, probably the least fun to make, and I'll leave it at that. And then I would say my overall favorite, I just have to go with the Wicked One, because it's just,
Well, that's where your headspace is at right
now.
Yeah. So I can understand that. Man, now I want to know more, because I really dug Phantom Funhouse, man. And that was your least favorite to make? Can you give us any clue on why? I mean,
lots of reasons why. And it wasn't so much it was, but it was more of just a number of different things. It wasn't one thing in particular. It was just super hard to do for
challenges along the way.
Yeah, it was really just tough, and it didn't have to be, and it shouldn't have been, because it had all that built in already, like Phantom Fun World. Let's bring it to life for real. Let's make a real Phantom Fun World, and that's really regretful for me, because I really love that character, and I love the cast who I had. They were all amazing. But that's not necessarily dead. There's a lot of stuff coming with Phantom Fun World. A lot of merch coming. A lot of, like I said, the mask is supposed to be coming from Trick or Treat Studios.
Nice.
So that
great
property,
cinematography on that film. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Tyler Horner was my DP on that. So we did what we could with the money we had, and there's a lot coming from Phantom Fun World, and that property will still be around. So we'll see what happens. There's a little nod in this film to Phantom Fun World. So we'll see what happens.
And some of the cast is going to be in this film as well. So it's a family affair, which I'm sure makes you happy and a little bit of comfort, because you're familiar with these actors and you know that they're going to show up and do their job, and you know what to expect. You can count on them.
Absolutely. Yep. Lots of people who are awesome that mean a lot to me in this film, including the big silent guy over there.
Well, we're
Motor
just
mouth
excited
over there.
for you guys. I'm really happy to see, all of this come to life for you. And I know it's just been years of hard work and dedication. So kudos to you guys for just sticking with it and doing the damn thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any last words as we get ready to wrap up? Any final thoughts? I'm not going to ask about future projects because I already did for one, and we know The Boy from Below is the main top priority right now.
Yep.
But
You said the Indiegogo is getting ready to wrap up, right?
1
yeah,
month.
you said about a month.
1 month, and we want to get to 100K.
We'll drop the Indiegogo in the comments for everybody, and if you guys want to plug your socials, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you.
I'm on.
I've already been plugging mine in there.
Perfect.
I was talking as it, and got my buddies in there now.
There you go.
I'm on OnlyFans at. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I thought that was just Rick. Okay.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
Gotta raise that money somehow.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Threads.
Yep, there we go. Instagram. Boy from Below.
Yep, Boy from Below's on there. Follow us on there. The Boy from Below has a Facebook page as well, so you can follow us on there. And yeah, just follow us and get involved with this film before it's too late, because I feel like we're about to create something super special.
And who wouldn't want to be a part of that? Possibly is the word new horror icon being being tossed around with the Wicked one?
Go ahead, Jack.
I have this issue with, I mean, people want to be famous. I don't really care about that. I like to make art. I don't care if it's, ever since I was a little kid, I like to draw and paint and stuff like that. So my thing is, if I draw a picture, I want you to be like, oh shit, that looks cool. Right? I don't care. I don't really care about the icon stuff. Yeah, sure. That if that came, yeah, cool. That'd be great. But just like in the last movie, even if you didn't like the movie or something, people were like, you know what though, that when you rode that horse, that was badass, or something like that. I just want to do something like that.
Yep.
That's all I want to do.
And I'm right there with you, Jack. It all comes down to passion. If money and all of that comes, fine. If it doesn't come, it's not like I'm gonna give up on any of the ventures that I have. It's all basically for the passion. I dropped the Indiegogo link in the chats there. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you can get that. You can go check it out. Help the guys get to $100,000, man. You got a good campaign going. Only a month left, so get in there, get some of them perks, and I can't wait to see. I'm a big fan of posters, and as you can see, I'm starting I got Harlow's Haunt back there. I got little indie posters, so at some point I'm gonna need a poster.
We'll make sure you get one. No worries there.
Yeah, yep. I'm gonna need a poster. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out this Wednesday evening to chat with us. It was a great combo. Jack kind of stole the show.
You want to get a few words in there, Tory?
You guys have a Jack and Coke with me at one of the horror movie festivals, or I don't know, on a weekend or something. I'll talk your fucking ear off, and you're gonna be like,
there you go. That's all it takes, ladies.
All right, I like it.
All right. Well, hey, I don't drink anymore, but I'll have a Coke, and then you can talk my ear off there. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for hopping on. Great chat.
Yeah. We would like to say bye to you after we close out the show. So if you got a minute, hang tight. We're gonna close everything out. Thank you guys. Good stuff. I can't wait to see this one, man.
Yeah, I'm really pumped up for it. I mean, I was pumped up for it before, but I'm especially pumped up for it now.
Yeah, good stuff. Coming up next week, we have, let me scroll down. I have the tab up this time. We have Richard Harlost.
Richard Harlost, Deadly Endings.
Yes, Deadly Endings. Writer, producer, director, of course, more indie talk, more filmmakers, more great stuff. That's what we do here, junkies.
Yes,
and had a good crowd. I want to thank everybody for joining us in there. Sorry, I was one-handed here, so I didn't get to all all the comments, but it didn't go unseen. And thank you guys for joining us, and thank anybody who's watching on the replay. If you have to be checking it out, couldn't check it out live, we'll let you slide this time. But 8 p.m. every Wednesday, be here.
All right.
Yeah, you know, and don't forget again, the new issue of Indie Horror Junkie magazine, issue 8, will be out March 13th. Mr. Peter Anthony and his new project Laugh is gracing the cover. Not going to want to miss that. Anything else, guys? It was a fun time. Thank you, Amy, for joining in. You do the pop in like Kramer every once in a while.
Popping in when I'm free and available and I'm not on set.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So, well, as they say in the biz, Rick.
See you next Wednesday.
Bye.